everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today, me and Mr. Zig is going to be going over an interview that Hakeem Jeffries gave to CNBC. I think that he was shocked by some of the questions, and I have not seen all of this interview in its entirety. It's about 14 minutes long. Have you seen this particular interview?
No, not this one. I have not seen this one. You know, you see Hakeem on TV every day talking about something, but I don't believe I've seen this one. But this one looks very interesting.
It is from what I have seen of it. It is very interesting. I think they took him off guard because CNBC is supposed to be a fold, supposed to be real good to him, and some of the questions that they've asked, they took him off guard.
Did they catch him off guard a little bit?
It catches him off guard.
Well, let's see what he says.
Yeah, and so let's jump right into it here.
How do you handle that?
This is not additional government spending.
It is additional government spending. You're looking for another $350 billion of additional government spending over the next 10 years?
That's just with the Obamacare.
We're actually extending a tax credit that currently exists. And what's interesting,
you couldn't get it passed for longer. And so this is a setup that kind of your own creation that you all couldn't extend beyond that. Now you want the Republicans to do something you didn't do when you were in power?
It's not a setup beyond what we could do. We extended the Affordable Care Act tax credits in 2022 for 3 years. The program is working. It's providing health care to tens of millions of people in an affordable way, and it should be continued. It's interesting to us that Republicans decided that they would prefer to permanently extend massive tax breaks for their billionaire donors in their one big ugly bill, which also at the same time dramatically increased the debt and enact.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop it there because that is a falsehood of giving the billionaires a tax break. The reason why this thing isn't passing is because Democrats want illegals now to come back on board to where they get
free health care.
Free health care.
Yes.
That is all that it is boils down to, and the polls are showing that it's costing Democrats. American people have seen. I think the Republicans is doing a real good job. Johnson, every day at like noon, he's out there talking about this. Or I guess it's even earlier than that. It's about 10 o'clock. He's out talking about why it's shut down, and he keeps beating that drum, you know. But the Democrats decided, let's go on tax breaks for the billionaires. And that's not what this is all about at all. So that's a falsehood right there.
The largest cut to Medicaid in American history, but refused to consider extending Affordable Care Act tax credits that actually benefit working class Americans, everyday Americans, and middle class Americans. Their priorities are misplaced. And as Democrats, we're going to continue to fight for the American people all across the country, in rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and of course, black and brown communities throughout America, all of whom are being devastated by this Republican health care crisis.
Leader Jeffries, we were just joined by Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma. He's a Republican, and his concern with this was that the ACA subsidies aren't helping bring costs down overall. He said that in his state, Oklahoma, if you look over 6 years from 2013 to 2019, premiums for ACA plans were up by 200% versus premiums being up by 29% for commercial plans in his state. His concern is that there's something that needs to be fixed within this. Some of the things he threw out would be things like limiting fraud by just requiring that there be at least a $20 premium or some premium that's put down instead of zero premium so that people get enrolled in things without even knowing that they're enrolled in some of these programs. What do you say to that?
We've made clear in the House that we will consider anything that emerges from the Senate in good faith in a bipartisan way that both reopens the government while at the same time addresses this health care crisis and extends the Affordable Care Act tax credits in a meaningful way. The 90% or so of the people who benefit from these Affordable Care Act tax credits make $63,000 per year or less. And a significant number of small businesses and entrepreneurs across the country rely upon the Affordable Care Act tax credits in order to provide health insurance for themselves and for their families. So this is an issue that needs to be addressed. In fact, we know that red state residents actually are disproportionately higher represented in terms of the Affordable Care Act tax credits than any other part of the country. And so we're fighting for the American people here, and hopefully we can find a bipartisan path forward.
It's such a complex issue, leader. And what we're seeing now with the shutdown, some real effects starting to happen, I guess. And that's where people just separate out all the points that you're making right now about what's wrong with the healthcare system and when and how you fix it, and when you're able to have those discussions and those negotiations. And maybe it shouldn't be done, by shutting using leverage, which shuts the government down, where you don't really have time to do it effectively. This is what Senator Langford, just talking about history, this is what he said about Obamacare.
Well, in 2013, as folks recall, Republicans were mad about Obamacare. We were pretty clear about it, and we had a big government shutdown. It was shorter than this one, and Democrats at that time said, we will not negotiate on health care while the government is closed. Well, now it's literally the opposite on it. That we're saying we're not going to negotiate on health care. Health care is incredibly complicated. You can't do it while people are not getting SNAP benefits, people are not getting paid, air traffic controllers aren't getting paid. Well, you can't sit there and say, we'll do this little tweak and that's going to be enough. It's not enough. So let's actually have a real conversation about all these issues, but not while there's a shutdown.
And I think it's possible, Leader, that Republicans all feel that way, and we're just going to be stuck here until some really bad things happen.
Yeah, we haven't shut the government down. Donald Trump is the president. Republicans control the House and the Senate. And what we've repeatedly made clear is that we would not support a partisan.
What does he mean he didn't shut the government down? It's all Democrats.
Well, he's making it look like.
Oh, yeah. He definitely wants
Trump's
to spend.
president and the House and the Senate are run by Republicans. But you need some votes from the Democratic side, right?
Right.
Am I clear on this?
You
need how many?
7, I believe.
Okay, so you do need some Democrats to
get
come
to that 60.
to the middle,
Right.
basically, to
and
agree on something. Which, let's face it,
so there's
Tom, I don't think
53
anybody agrees on anything anymore.
Right.
That's what
Right.
they're going down the road.
They need to. What the American people need to do is just go in and clean house. Just get rid of everybody.
Never happens.
No,
That's
it'll never happen.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
But it's not just the Republicans.
Right.
I know he wants to make it sound like that, and it's not just the Democrats neither. I mean, but you've got to come to a middle somewhere. You've been shut down for a month now.
So the thing that my understanding is that the Democrats now want to put back in that the big beautiful bill took out, and that's illegals getting on Medicaid and Medicare.
Yes.
Now they want to come back in, and they want to say that we want that drop. We want to be able to put illegals back on Medicare, and the Republicans are saying, no, we're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. That bill has passed. It's done.
So who's going to blink?
Yeah.
Who's going to blink here?
Really, I think
when you get to it.
Well, so yesterday, SNAP.
Yeah.
Recipients, they get nothing.
Right.
Or at least they wasn't supposed to.
Right.
So when it starts affecting the people that vote for Hakeem, I think they're going to say, okay, yeah, we've tucked it as far as we can. They're not going to negotiate. They're not going to put that clause back in. So let's go back to the table. And talk. Yeah, that's what I think that will happen.
I don't know. They sound like they're so dug in.
Yeah.
So dug in, like we're not going to.
Here's the other way that this would come to an end as well, and I don't know at what timeline did it become, because Hakeem, all Democrats, all Congress people, all judges, federal judges, Everybody is a government worker. My question is, how did it become that they, judges, Congress people, their president, all were exempt from being affected by a shutdown?
Well, who do you think got that voted in?
Well, all of them.
Sure.
I
You
mean,
think they're going to vote
yeah,
that out?
they're
They're going to vote and say, no, we don't want paid neither?
But you sit back, and if I was a government worker, I'd be like, well, wait a minute. How in the hell is it affecting me and my family? But you guys are exempt from it, and you're a government worker as well. How did that happen? Why did that happen?
It got passed probably in the middle of the
And
night,
here's the thing.
and no one paid attention, and no one gave a damn about it. It'll never affect me, and now here it is. It's affecting me.
Right.
And now I'm upset.
Well,
about
I think that the first one, people should have seen that. Well, wait a minute, that ain't affecting you. You still get your $175,000, and I don't get nothing. I've got to step back and not get paid at all.
Yeah.
How in the hell does that happen? And why the American people then didn't say, what? Okay, you're gone. We're voting you out. We're voting you out. Every one of them Congress people, when you can go back and find out, because most of them are still here.
Sure. Yeah, you don't have to
Most of them are still
You don't
here.
have to look far.
No,
I mean, most of them are still around.
But why the American people isn't so upset by that? That how did it become that Congress, federal judges, that top level, they're exempt from losing their pay? Because it'd be over with. It never would go. You would never see a shutdown if it affected their pay.
Heck no.
You would never see a shutdown.
Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people in an environment where Republicans already enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing because of Republican policies in their one big ugly bill all across the country. Medicare is facing a $536 billion cut at the end of the year unless Congress acts, again connected to the one big ugly bill. And now Republicans are refusing to even consider extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits when open enrollment starts on November 1st. This is a now issue.
But Leader Jeffries, you kind of conflated a spending bill with a clean CR. It's only 24 pages. It keeps the government open at this point. And the House passed it. It's ready to go. The Senate has it.
And remember, Chuck Schumer, back in March, said that it would be bad for the government to be shut down. And so then through March until October 1st, there was the beating drum of, okay, Chuck, you want to play that? We're going to put somebody up against you in the primary, and it'll probably be AOC, and that's, yeah. So that's the thing, everybody who points this out is 100% correct, is that Chuck is saying, well, I want to keep my job. Sure. I've been here for 45 years. Sure. I want to stay. I don't want to run up against anybody. Mm-hmm. So let me keep my job, which the people of New York would be smart by saying, you know what, Chuck, you fucked up enough. We're getting rid of you.
Yeah.
I know that the Republicans control everything, but you know how the filibuster works, and God forbid Republicans, fold on the filibuster, because it'll be used, both parties will use it against the other. It's one of the last safeguards that make the Senate different than the House. And the only reason the Senate can't do it is purely because of Democrats. And you had one of your colleagues in the Senate say, this is the only leverage we have. People are going to get hurt. This is the only leverage we have to get what we want on health care. That's a bad look.
Yeah, this is not about leverage. And by the way, if the votes of Democratic senators are required, then of course there should be a bipartisan discussion about enacting a spending bill that is designed to actually make life better for the American people, lower the high cost of living in an environment where Donald Trump and Republicans promised that costs were going to go down on day one. Costs aren't going down. Inflation is moving in the wrong direction. The Trump tariffs are causing thousands of dollars of additional expense on everyday Americans. Grocery costs have gone up. Housing costs are going up. Electricity bills are through the roof. And now tens of millions of people are facing dramatically increased health care premiums. In some instances, $1,000 or $2,000 more per month. These are work.
I will say one thing that I believe, from Trump 1.0 to 2.0, I have noticed that, the cost of fuel, stuff like that, isn't as cheap now as it was in his first term. It does seem like the cost of living is staying steady high.
At a high level. Steady, but at a high level. Yeah.
But at the same time, for Hakeem Jeffries to come on and complain about high levels when Trump was in office the first time, and Joe Biden took over and took a 1.4 economy inflation rate. Yes.
And then it went up to
9.2.
Yes.
Yeah. And he out there just no, cost of living ain't going up, But now he's got a problem with it. But I mean, Trump's bringing it down a little. It ain't like what they're trying to say. So it's politics at its best when he can bitch about the price of everything now, but had no worries when it really went high.
Shot high.
Yeah. $5, $6 for a dozen of eggs.
Their man was in office. Joe Biden was in office.
Yeah.
They're not gonna beat on him.
I mean, just anybody, and this would be, I'm a Republican, registered Republican. If a registered Republican was to say what these guys are saying, I'd say you're done. I'm not voting for you.
Right.
For American people to sit back, and the people of New York to sit back and see this idiot saying this crap, and they'll vote him right back in. It's amazing.
Working class people, this is unaffordable, and of course, it's a crisis that is before us right now.
But what changed from when the Democrats said we will not negotiate when the government is shut down on health care? Not now, reopen the government, then we'll negotiate. That happened in 2013. What happened, what changed since then to where we are now, where you can use a government shutdown to extract concessions from Republicans?
We are not using a government shutdown to extract any concessions.
Yes, you are.
We want to reopen the government immediately. Donald Trump has refused to meet with Democrats.
All you need is 7 votes. All you need is 7 votes. You can open it up immediately.
Over the last 24 days, he spent more time on the golf course than he has actually talking to Democrats on Capitol Hill. He's found time to demand that the Department of Injustice give him $230 million in taxpayer money. He's found time to bail out a right-wing wannabe dictator in Argentina with $40 billion. He's found time to demolish the East Wing of the White House in the most horrific way possible because he wants to erect a ballroom so he can be celebrated like a king. He's found time for all of these different things, but somehow can't be bothered to reopen the government or can't be bothered to find a dime to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Okay, let's talk about some of these issues. You bring up inflation, and you're right to do so. We just got the CPI. It was not quite as hot as had been anticipated, but inflation is higher than the Fed's target range or than anybody feels comfortable with. The problem is inflation is often caused by government spending. Additional government spending is not likely to get it to the point where we are going to see less inflation out there. How do you handle that?
This is not additional government spending.
It is additional government spending. You're looking for another $350 billion of additional government spending over the next 10 years?
That's just with the Obamacare.
We're actually extending a tax credit that currently exists. And what's interesting is that in that one big ugly bill where Republicans raised the debt ceiling by about over $4 trillion, exploded the deficit and the debt, but then they used a policy framework called current policy baseline, which is to say that if you just extend current policy, it has no fiscal impact. So the question is, why
I'm not a big fan of how any of you all use numbers in the government.
So the question is, why are Republicans willing to use that approach when it comes to massive tax breaks?
Like I said, I'm not a big fan with how any of the government, I'm not a big fan of how any elected officials tend to use figures to tell us what we want to hear with some of these things. Additional government spending, though, is going to mean worse numbers when it comes to inflation. Is there a way to get everybody together and try and find ways to fix the base problems with health care and try and make sure that people are being given the help that they need along the way? It seems like it's a really tough thing to do when the government's been shut for 24 days, that is not a great situation, that we're asking other people to bear the pain.
We have a broken healthcare system, and it obviously needs to be fixed in a decisive way. But there are steps that should be taken right now with respect to the reality that tens of millions of Americans are receiving notices as we speak, indicating that their health care premiums are about to skyrocket in ways that will bankrupt them or deprive them of the ability to go see a doctor when they need one, when their children or when their families need one. This is not an artificially made up thing. November 1st, open enrollment begins. The notices are going out. Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees that something needs to be done with respect to the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and traditional conservatives in the House agree. They just sent a letter to Mike Johnson indicating that this is an issue that needs to be confronted.
There are problems. Agreed.
That's a first. That's a first for you, leader Marjorie Taylor Greene. I love it. You got to love the irony there. Hey, you know what else has passed?
Okay. Well, Mr. Zig, it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation there. I mean, both sides are at fault. Both sides created it. Like she said, you had an opportunity when you had majority to fix this, and you never did. But at the same time, too, when it comes to they didn't have the majority, is it time to get rid of the filibuster all the way around?
Together. I don't know.
I mean,
it's easy to blame the other side.
Yeah.
When they're in control.
Right.
The House and the Senate and the president are all Republican.
Right.
So it's easy to say it's their fault.
It's your fault.
They're in charge.
Yeah.
Don't blame us.
Right.
You know what? We didn't cause this. Blame the Republicans.
Well, the Republicans are staying strong, saying we're not going to negotiate. You're going to open the government up before we could sit down. We could talk about all this stuff.
Yeah.
So now the Democrats all being on the same page, and you watch. Then now if Trump comes to the table, Trump needs to come to the table. What's Trump doing? So
I
now
don't think
they're
they want to
into
deal with him.
No.
He's a dealer, and
Yeah.
he'll sit down and tell you what the deal's going to be.
Right.
And
yeah, they
probably not a whole lot of compromise sometimes when
Right.
it comes with the president. I
Right.
mean, he's very clever, almost sneaky to the point of
Yeah.
doing deals.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, someone has to blink here. I mean,
Right.
they really do. This is
Right. Well,
this is
maybe they're going for the record. I don't know if they've made it or
I
not.
don't know what the record is.
I don't either.
Oh,
But
okay.
they at one time they said that it was the third longest shutdown.
Oh, it is.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I have not seen
Well,
what else they have done.
going to have to come together
Right.
sooner or later.
Yes.
And hopefully for everyone, it's sooner.
Well, I mean,
This blame game gets old.
Yeah.
It really does. You're all grown people.
Right.
Grown. Just sit down at a table and say, look, we need to, for the good of the country, we need to come together.
I don't think politicians today give a shit about the country.
I know, and
On the
it's sad.
Democrat
It's
side
not
anyway.
the same. It's not the same the way
No.
it used to be.
And they just got radical. I
But
mean,
then how do you
they-
explain Fetterman?
yeah.
How do you
I
explain
mean,
him? Is he an oddball?
How we
Is he an
all
oddball? Like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I believe we should sit down and,
But
I
see,
don't believe
just-
we should call people names and, we
Yeah.
act like children when we do this,
Right.
and he's the only
When
man
he
who
had
doesn't
his-
look like he's got any sense, makes sense,
right.
which,
Yeah, I guess
figure that out.
And how we all the Republicans say that guy's a half-wit. He should be out of office. When he had his stroke in the beginning
When he had a
of
stroke,
his
yeah.
term,
Yes.
now he's not here. He's gone. Well, and everybody was like, the Pennsylvania knew that this guy had a stroke. What the hell are they voting this guy in for? I mean, I'd still, he's making sense now, but I'd still rather have a Republican in that seat instead of Fetterman.
Maybe some people in Pennsylvania knew
Right.
he was okay. They just, he had the. But yeah, it seems like he's come out of the stroke pretty good. I can't really tell.
Right.
That he's had any effects of it. I'm not sure. What
he seems to be getting
had,
stronger now.
Yeah.
Making more sense.
He makes sense when he talks. He's like, we need to come together. And we need to quit calling everybody names.
Right.
For Christ's sake, this is schoolyard crap is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And I just don't get the name called.
Right.
I really don't from grown-ups.
Right.
I mean,
so,
you know what?
As far as the shutdown goes, like I said, until the American people demand that the, and I was going to say too, until the American people demand that the senators and the Congress people, the judges, all come back in to that a government shutdown will affect their pay.
Their pay also.
They don't care. They'll make it last forever if they want.
Like I said,
ain't gonna bother me.
Doesn't affect me.
Doesn't affect me.
I mean, sorry about you, but try and do it for all the illegal aliens that are in the country. We need to take care of them too. But your party let them all in to begin with. Let's not forget that. Okay.
Right. We shouldn't be taking care of none of them.
Yeah, you let them all in. I know we're a giving country and we take care of everyone, but you let millions and millions of people into the country unvetted. Half of them you don't know where they're at to begin with. And I'm sure there's a lot of good people that came in, but there's a lot of bad ones who did also.
Yeah.
And the idea that you just let them in willy-nilly still is coming back to haunt us. Yeah. I really do.
I mean, and the bad thing is that the way the court system, especially the federal court system, is set up now, and as crooked as they are, they would, if somebody was to come in and say, okay, we're putting you guys back into the under the umbrella that if the government shuts down, you guys lose your pay, then I'm sure there would be probably about 4 or 5, 6 Democrat and Republican judges say that's unconstitutional.
Oh, sure.
You can't,
God, yeah.
You can't do that. That's unconstitutional.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Right.
So, but well, all right, Mr. Zig.
Well, I'm sure
this is heartbreaking.
I'm sure Hakeem will be on the news this week telling us. Probably saying if you ran this next week, you'd probably be saying the same damn thing.
Yep.
He said this week.
Yeah.
We're blaming it on the Republicans.
We're blaming it on the Republicans, and Donald Trump's not coming to the table.
And he's not coming to the table, and it's a big ugly bill. And, by God,
this ain't good.
So you may hear the same thing as we say next week.
I'm sure we will. So, all righty, man.
All right.
We'll talk at everybody later. Have a good one.